I got a chance to listen to your latest album, and what stood out to me, I had like Still a Kiss, like the first time. The album's actually also titled Emotional. Tell us a little bit about what was your concept behind creating this album.
Absolutely. So Emotional was my third album released in Japan. And yeah, I guess I just was like I was just so grateful that I finally seen my music kind of finding a finding itself around the world in a market that was accepting me. And um I've been doing music for quite some time, and uh the album is new to the whole world, but it was actually I created this album a while ago, and it was my third album in Japan. And I wasn't really focused on like digital. I kind of missed the digital wave. I was a tangible artist where I was selling physical CDs, and um, I just thought now that I have like a lot of attraction on some of my music, and I did a new deal, um, it was only right to make sure the world gets a hold of the music that built me to this point. And yeah, Emotional was the best concept and idea I could actually you know that can wrap around like and summarize how I was feeling at the time. And I still feel that way today. I feel very grateful and blessed to be doing music and um, to create, even if it's just one person that says, "Man, your song touched me or saved my life or made me feel any kind of way." That's just it's bigger than me, man. I'm just the best.
Going back to your album, I noticed also you had a collaboration with T-Boz. How did that
Yeah.
collaboration come about?
Well, my first album, my like the first album in Japan, um, Maya featured on that album, and second album, I had a Marie feature on it. And um, the one thing I loved about the label that I was working with in Japan was, and just the country, was appreciation of legends, and folk and R&B music. Um, and we came around to what I really like to elaborate on this album. I was like, TLC is undeniably one of the most inspirational, uh, not groups around the world, but one of the most inspirational groups and artists, to my career. I remember growing up listening to them, and from the originality of T-Boz's voice to Chili's voice to what Left Eye did, it was an unbelievable trio. And the songwriting, Dallas Austin, like Babyface Dallas Austin, like they really put their foot in some of those, some of those songs are just they were perfection. So I remember how much it was like one of the first CDs I ever listened to. And when I had the opportunity to say, hey, it would be really cool for me to do something with T-Boz, the label really liked that idea, and we made the connection, and we met in the studio and cut the song. And T-Boz and I both, we related to having illnesses. I'm a diabetic, and she struggles with sickle cell, and um, how music just saves our lives. And that's why the song is called Miracles as well. Little miracles happen every day. And just I wanted to give people a message that was inspirational. That's one thing that TLC always did with Waterfalls and Unpretty. It was a conscious, inspirational record, and that's what Miracles is. Every time one door closes, another one opens. Um, and every time it rained like hell, somehow I swam, and every single no turned into a yes. Like I believe in miracles. Miracles happen every day.
Notice you did some work with America's Got Talent.
So I worked with Simon Cowell for about 10, 11 years. I helped form and develop the group Fifth Harmony from day one. Uh, then, and that was on X Factor in the USA. I was a vocal coach there and A&R. And then it went into, working with a show. We did a second season. Then after that, we did a show called La Banda on Univision, and I helped form and create the group CNCO, which is like now one of the biggest male Latin groups since Menudo. And then I moved to London and worked on X Factor in the UK, and I had this group called Raksu that came to the show. We did an original song that went #1. And then Simon offered me a senior A&R job at Psycho Sony Music, and I lived some time, and then I was a judge on X Factor there. And in between, I was working on all of like the Psycho Sony Music, Simon Cowell shows, from Britain's Got Talent to America's Got Talent, and all the X Factors. And that it was a dream come true for me because like I grew up watching Simon Cowell on TV,
Yeah.
discovering artists and talent, and watching them bloom and grow. And I think somewhere deep down inside me, being a project boy in New York City, watching TV, I used to be like, man, I always had a heart to not only be discovered and do music, but I was also fascinated and loved the idea of, finding the diamond in the rough, finding someone else that had talent and maybe didn't have the resources, or was a dreamer and wanted to just make something out of nothing, and being like, hey man, one day I would love to be that guy to do that for someone else,